story begins in a very large museum in a very famous town where there is a peculiar exhibit on display. A pea. Yes, that's right. A pea. A lone piece sits in a case of glass. What is this pea's significance? I will tell you. It began on a dark and stormy night with a prince. Now, not just any prince. This prince wanted more than anything to marry a princess, but she had to be a real princess. What was more, his mother, the queen, had to put it into his head that no one was good enough for her son.
That's right. I don't want any shenanigans. I want the real deal. A qualified, a bona fide, a ratified real princess.
So he traveled all over the world to find one, but wherever he went, there was always something wrong, with the help of his mother.
She is too young, too old, too fat, too thin, lacks culture, is too cultured.
And so he went home again and was very upset. He so much wanted to find a real princess to love. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. It was a dark and stormy night that the rain began to come down in torrents and the lightning flashed and the thunder roared. It was in the middle of this storm that there was a knock at the castle door. The guards answered the door and escorted a rain-soaked lady into the throne room, where the family was eating dinner. They were rather noisy eaters at that.
What is the meaning of all this? Guards, who let in this wet creature? Can't you see we are eating?
And it was at that time that the court jester decided to pipe in with a tune.
Creature, creature, who's the creature? Now a lesson the king will teach her, not to interrupt their mighty meals by serving her a meal of steel.
I am not a creature. I am the Princess Allura of the realm of theories, and I have never been this insulted by royalty before. I have seen more manners in a pig pen than your family has, good sir.
What are you saying, you impudent woman?
The queen interrupted her with her whispers.
Frank, how do we know this woman is a real princess? What? I can't hear you, dear. Could you speak up? How do we know this woman is a princess?
I am no ordinary woman. I am a princess of the richest families north of the Magic Mountains. My father, King Tree, would be appalled to know of my ill treatment at the hands of your family. Why, sir, this is what causes wars.
War? War? Oh my goodness, who said anything about war? Please, come in, sit down, enjoy a meal with us.
I will not sup with you. You eat like pigs. Guards, fetch me your swiftest horse. I shall ride home at once.
The queen, now utterly insulted, and interrupted.
Guards, you will do no such thing.
The queen was quite annoyed with the ill manners of this young princess, and she began to plot.
Our home, interrupt our meal, and threaten war? You shall receive no help from us.
And the princess, who was by this point desperate for help and shelter from the storm in which she had been delayed, knew that she had to find a way to stay. So she flung off her coat and gave the princess, who up to this point had been silent, the look. The look that suddenly said, "Poor me." And suddenly, the prince realized just how beautiful and clever this woman was and interrupted.
Now, mother, let's not be hasty. We should extend our courtesy at our home, at least for the evening. After all, she is a princess.
Well, thank you, kind sir. I am at your service, your highness.
Mother, she would be perfect. The perfect princess for me. She is so lovely.
Absolutely not. As I mentioned before, we do not even know if she is a real princess.
And at this moment, Court Jester decided to pipe in with a song of his own.
The waterlogged girl is in a jam, interrupted the king's feast of ham, claims she's a princess to the king, but is she real, says the queen.
And the song, instead of annoying the queen and reminding her of the financial troubles of the kingdom, actually got an idea. A brilliant, awful, clever idea.
You're right, son. We should extend her the courtesies of our home if she is a real princess. That is a pretty big if. I propose that she stay with us for a few days, in fact, until the poor dear has been properly rested. She shouldn't continue her journey. There will be a test to see if the princess is indeed who she says she is, and if she is in fact worthy of my son.
But mother, she's so wonderful. How could she be anything but a princess?
I could say I am the Tooth Fairy, but it doesn't mean I am.
Aw, the Tooth Fairy. She never visited me, ever.
I know, dear. I know. That is why we don't like her.
In fact, the queen had the tooth fairy in prison because she didn't offer enough money for the prince's childhood teeth.
I don't agree to any test. This is absurd.
It seems you have no choice. You can stay with us or go back out into the storm.
Fine, I will stay with you and I will prove to you that I'm a real princess.
We will see. We will see. It was the prince who offered to escort the girl to her chambers for that evening, madly in love as he was.
You have to forgive me, Mother. She can be so overbearing.
She certainly is. Thank you for helping me. I am a real princess, you know.
Of course.
And the prince and princess leaned closer to each other, and as they were about to kiss, the door flung open.
Stop! I forbid this kissing. You are not married, and you barely know this girl. And we have not yet determined whether she is a princess or not.
Prince shot a very annoyed look at his mother.
Mother, I have had quite enough of this. My whole life you have been controlling me, and I am not a toy. I am a real person with thoughts and feelings.
I do no such thing.
You are ruining my life.
You want to fight? Fine, but I am exhausted. Can I please enter my room?
Of course you can, dear. I did a bit of remodeling for you as well.
The prince and the princess entered the bedchamber and gasped. The bed had at least 20 mattresses piled on top of each other. And on top, the court jester and the king were bouncing up and down.
Oh, what fun this is. Dear, you really should try this.
And the jester entered into another one of his rhymes as they bounced. And the jester entered into another one of his rhymes as they bounced.
Riddle me this, riddle me that, vegetables round, vegetables fat. The queen is clever and the queen is quick. Will the princess ever guess her trick?
Silence. You have said quite enough. Princess, up you go, and a good night to you.
What right have you to force me to sleep up so high? I could fall.
It is all within the regulations of Mr. McDibble's Etiquette of Royalty, Chapter 23.
Well, that settles it, I suppose.
And so the princess began climbing the ladder. Mr. McDibble's Etiquette of Royalty was the final word in what was appropriate for a princess. After all, it was the word on the do's and don'ts of royalty, and the princess knew that if it was in that book, she would indeed have to be tested and sleep atop the many towering mattresses.
Good night, my love.
Love? You have known her for all of an hour, and you are in love? Children these days.
And so everyone except the jester left the room. The jester grabbed hold of the ladder and took it away, whispering,
Riddle me this, riddle me that, vegetables round, vegetables.
And with that, the jester left the room with the ladder. Slam! The door was closed and locked. The princess slowly drifted off to sleep, wondering what the jester's riddle could mean.
Vegetable, round, orb.
The next morning at breakfast, the princess joined the family at the table in the throne room. The prince seemed especially excited for some reason, and the queen seemed to be in an especially foul mood.
Oh, Princess Alora, how did you sleep last night? I trust you rested comfortably?
I slept quite well. The bed was so... What am I saying? It was horrible. I didn't sleep a wink. First, you put me up in that insane bed. What is more, you locked me in that room and took away the ladder. And lastly, your mattress stink. Yes, they are absolutely not comfortable. I hope you did not pay much for them. It felt the whole night as if I was sleeping on some gigantic ball that was bending and breaking my back. What kind of mattresses do that?
The prince, who was practically bursting with excitement, exclaimed,
You did it! It was a pea! It was a pea!
What in the world are you going on about, you fool? I didn't have to pee.
No, a pea. A little round green vegetable. Mother put it under your bed according to Miss McDibble's rules. You see the test. You passed the test. You found the pea under 20 whole mattresses.
Yes, very well done, dear. When my wife found the test for a real princess was a pea under one's bed, I guess she went a little overboard. Only one who is as delicate as a true princess could have felt the pea. I don't know what to say. The test failed. She is not a princess. She can't be. My son cannot get married. He can't.
And it was at that moment that a huge magical explosion came from below. The floor of the throne room was filled and out popped the one, the only, the beautiful tooth.
Free at last. I thought those dentures would never eat through that floor. That horrible woman, the queen, has been keeping me in the dungeon this entire time. Apparently, I didn't offer enough money for the prince's teeth.
This is an outrage. To kidnap and incarcerate a fairy of the kingdom is a capital offense. You brutal woman.
How dare you? Sorry, dear, but the law is the law.
Reluctant on the king's part, the queen was escorted to the dungeons underneath the castle for the rest of her days. That left a disoriented king. What? A frightened tooth fairy.
Oh my!
A giddy jester. Woohoo! A baffled prince.
I never would have guessed.
And a satisfied princess.
That old bag got what she deserved.
And without the queen interrupting and manipulating the situation, it wasn't hard for the prince and princess to fall in love. The entire kingdom was invited to the wedding, and the new king and queen lived happily for the rest of their days. But never again did they serve peas at the royal castle.